Fulton coming to you on a Tuesday. Hopefully everyone had a terrific Monday and a very entertaining weekend on the football field and on the hardwood, leading into the best Saturday and Sunday in football. The divisional round starting up Saturday, the very first game of the week. The Kansas City Chiefs taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars. We've got so much to get to today and the rest of this week involving both KU, K-State, Chiefs, NFL, maybe a little Royals news happening as well that we can get Fulton fired up on. A lot to get to. Jake LeBon, Fulton Caster with you on this Tuesday. We'll hear from head coach Andy Reid. We're going to hear from Patrick Mahomes. We'll hear from Matt Derrick. We'll hear from Brendan Dworzynski. A lot to get to on this Tuesday. And Sunflower Showdown edition number 1 this year. Maybe one of 3, potentially. We will get into that as that tips off at 6 o'clock tonight. 5 o'clock pregame coverage. As always, let us know your thoughts on Super Wild Card Weekend. Let us know. 785-272-9429. That is the text line on our Big O Tires text line. Give us your thoughts for the weekend that was. And boy, Fulton, I hope you have a coach that actually knows what they're doing, because Super Wild Card Weekend had really 4 games that were close. I mean, close. Came down to the very, very end. One game that was a blowout, and then another game that was close for about 40 minutes, and then the better team flexed its muscles. But the entire weekend, to me, boiled down to one thing: coaching and coaching decisions, and how you handle your team and how you handle what to do at the end of a game. I don't know how many times we have to talk about this, Fulton. We talk about this at least once a week, if not twice a week. Coaches that we think are really good, they're probably average, but they look great, because most coaches screw it up and have no clue what is going on. They did not play Madden as a kid. They did not play NCAA football as a kid. They clearly don't know what's going on. It has to be this. It has to be. They've got so much going on in their head with score and time and personnel and plays and whether or not it's a first down or not, apparently, that they cannot figure it out at the end of a game in what to do in one, either calling a timeout, running a play, deciding what to do. It's not the end all be all. It isn't. It's kind of like Andy Reid and his 51%, right? Andy Reid will gather all sorts of input, and everybody else got 49%. But 51% is Andy Reid, right? 51% is the players, because you have to make the plays. But man, if this didn't show you over the weekend that coaching and coaching decisions and how you go about things matters in the NFL, but it also, I mean, it matters pretty much everywhere. When high school, college, lower level high school, big time high school, coaching matters, because 3 of these games, 3 of them, were some of the all-time dumbest decisions that we have seen in playoff history, especially with the Chargers and the Jaguars, the Dolphins and the Bills, and the Bengals and the Ravens. All 3 of those came down to dumb decisions by head coaches, and in one game had a real dumb decision by a player.
Yeah.
You could argue that the Ravens, Dolphins, and Chargers all should have won. They should have won. All three wild card teams, all three road teams should have won the game, but every one of their head coaches said, hold my beer. Watch this.
And I'll say this. I have different thoughts for each of the three situations.
Oh, they're completely different scenarios.
Because when it comes to Miami, Mike McDaniel at least has an excuse. He's a rookie head coach. He's never been here before. It's a big stage to be at. It's a stressful moment. It's also down to his third-string quarterback amongst a bunch of other issues. But
my guy, no one doubt it is. He literally said, I thought we got the first down. What are you looking at? You were nowhere near the first down.
That's fair.
I'm way too fired up over this.
If there's anyone with a reasonable explanation, it's Mike McDaniel, who's never been here before. He's learning. He's still learning the job. It does not absolve all sins here.
Real quick, let me ask you this though. It's just getting the play in. Like that.
I don't disagree. I don't
care if it's in the super duper booper wild card weekend or week 4 against the Jets. You literally just make a decision on what to call the play, send it to the guy in the huddle. I don't care if Skylar Thompson's the backup. He'd been quarterback this year for how many games? 3, 4? Like he knew what was kind of going on a little bit.
And that's fair.
The play in.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's fair. The Chargers, there's really no excuse for whatever the hell happened there.
That was Chernobyl.
That was Chernobyl. That was an epic meltdown of amazing proportions.
Chargering has a new peak, a new ceiling.
No, there's never been a better chargering than what they did on Saturday night. And then, weirdly enough, though, I think the most inexcusable might actually be Baltimore's.
No, I agree with you. 1,000%.
Because one simple factor, John Harbaugh knows what the hell he's doing. John Harbaugh is considered one of the best coaches in the NFL. He's a 10-plus year veteran. And the biggest thing for John Harbaugh is always, he's smart. He knows what he's doing. He knows the situation. He's crafty. He makes the right calls. He's aggressive in knowing when to go for it on fourth downs.
Mm-hmm.
All these little nuancing things. Yeah, it sucked that your quarterback did the stupidest damn thing I've ever seen, trying to jump and extend a ball on a sneak from the 2-yard line.
From the 2.5-yard line.
First off, why the hell are you running a sneak from the 2.5-yard line with Tyler Huntley? Just what the hell are we doing here? Secondly, Huntley, what the hell are you doing trying to jump there? All that notwithstanding, you had a real shot to tie that game up. You had the ball near midfield-ish with a lot of clock and a lot of timeouts.
And I'm with you. That's why it is the worst of the three.
It's the Ravens for me because who's in charge?
Well, that, and not only once, but twice. First of all, on 1st and goal from the 5, I don't know why it is so difficult to just hand the ball off to a guy in J.K. Dobbins who's been averaging 7 yards to carry his last 4 games, or Gus Edwards, who is a human battering ram.
Yes.
You hand it off to one of those two guys 4 straight times. Instead, what do? The 5-yard line, they throw a pass. Stupid decision number 1. Or not the 5-yard line, the 2.5-yard line. Then they run it.
Yeah.
Okay, now you get it to the 2.5. Why are you running a quarterback sneak? It's 3rd down. You do the jump over the, to cross the plane, what Trevor Lawrence did, what Mahomes did. You do that on 4th and goal you have no other options. Like that is it. It's 4th and goal. It was 3rd. So you're stupid there. Then on 4th and goal, then you hand it off again. You go for the touchdown perfectly. Then, as you mentioned, at the end of the game, there is a minute to go in the game. And for some odd reason, you think that you're just going to cruise into the end zone. You call timeout. You have 1 timeout left. They wasted 27 seconds in a game in which then they didn't even get the ball to the 10-yard line.
You can't take your timeouts home with you. You can't.
What on earth is happening?
It's insane. And when it comes to the Ravens game in particular, and this is my. I feel like I've just gone on just extended rants constantly about goal-to-go play calling because every team just can't seem to get it right on what to do. Like, especially if you're inside the 5, run the ball. Like,
especially if you are the Ravens. That's
the
what
Ravens
you
are
do.
a team built on running the football. That is what they do. And more importantly, J.K. Dobbins sat here and said, I understand what our team's at right now. Before the game ever happened, he was like, I know where we're at. Got a backup quarterback. Guys are banged up. It's tough. Give me the ball 30 times. I got this. Put this on my shoulders. I can do this.
They literally rested him the game before.
They gave him 13 carries.
Dude,
if I'm J.K. Dobbins, I look at John Harbaugh in the face and say, bleep you, get me in the first flight out of here. Because you obviously don't respect me as a player.
Maybe it's until you're in that position, you have so much going on in your head, or I think it might be you're too close, like the Chiefs, okay? For me, and this goes back to the AFC title game last year, second and goal from the 4, run it 3 straight times.
Yeah.
But if there's one team that I can at least understand on why you'd throw it,
it's the team with the greatest quarterback in the NFL.
Exactly. Tyler Huntley throwing the football in first, and some people are going to say this, Jake, it was going to work if Tyler Huntley just threw it a little bit better to their big tight end. Well, guess
Tyler
what?
Huntley's a backup quarterback who's not good at throwing the football.
For a reason.
Yeah.
Just run it 3 straight times. And that's the reason why I'm with you. The Ravens and John Harbaugh completely
no excuse
tanked that. Not once, but twice.
Yeah.
And then
two tank jobs in there.
And then Huntley with just
the Chargers had the greatest collapse in the history of the universe, which was just
But that's the
hilarious.
Chargers. Nobody's surprised that the Chargers did that. Honestly, at the end, when the Chargers ended up, we all probably figured that they were going to lose once they missed the field goal. I was like, yo, this is too much charging going on. And then, of course, the Jags get another touchdown. And then Joey Bosa loses his mind. He should have been kicked out of the game.
And Joey Bosa whines like a little girl.
I don't care if they're 2 different unsportsmanlike penalties. If you get 2 of them, you're gone. He's throwing his helmet around like a child. You can't do that. And then Doug Peterson. This is where Doug Peterson looks like a genius.
I love Doug.
When really, it's not, because we have talked about this a lot. And remember, Fulton, I was like, I don't know if you were right on that. I'm really coming around to being down 3 being down 4 instead of down 3. Because here's the thing. Dougie P, so smart. It's at the 1-yard line. He knows if they get this, field goal wins the game. But let's say they don't get it. Then you get in 4-down territory and you are pedal to the metal. And you have caution is thrown to the wind. And then Trevor Lawrence did the smart thing there. You're at the 1-yard line. Also, Tyler Huntley, not 6'6", with a wingspan.
That's the other thing. That was my first thought when Trevor had his sneak moment where he just kind of poked it. I was like, that was also when your quarterback's 6'6".
And he has the wingspan of a
very
condor.
long, so it just goes whoop.
And so then you that was win-win, but people are like, oh wow, what a gutsy call by Doug. No, it wasn't. That was not a gutsy call. That was the smart call, because one, it gives you the best opportunity to win. Because if you get it, and they did, now you just need a field goal. And we all know that the full-on Chernobyl meltdown of the Chargers was going. Once they got that there, first of all, I was excited because after we found out that, because I first thought the Chargers were going to roll them. Then, they ruled out Mike Williams for eternity, essentially. And then that's when I switched. So I ended up betting Jags plus 2.5. And so when they did when they went for 2, I'm like, oh my goodness, this is incredible. As a
Jacksonville Jaguars money line better, I had an incredible experience that day. Because when they were down 27-0, I just assumed my money was lost.
Yeah.
And then when the comebacks started happening, and then when they won the walk-off, I was like, this is the greatest way for a bet of mine to hit ever.
But people are acting like Doug Peterson is some genius.
No.
I don't think he's a genius. He did what I think a lot of people would do if you can read the room. Read the room. You get 1 yard. you now have a chance to win the game. Forget overtime. You win the game. And you knew that the Chargers were not going to get a first down. Everybody knew it. I knew it. You knew it. We all knew it. Field goal wins it. And if you don't, then you go for broke, because they could have gone for broke. But they didn't. They chewed the clock up at the end, waited, and then kicked the field goal. It was a fantastic weekend of games. It really was exciting. I mean, the Seahawks even gave us a fun
the
afternoon.
Seahawks team counts as fun because that didn't get to blowout territory till late third.
Yep.
That was fun early.
Giants and Vikes gave us a fun one at the end.
Vikings, most fraudulent team ever.
They're the worst 13-4 team ever.
Yeah.
And another reason why you will never win with Kirk Cousins.
Nope. Man threw the ball to the flat on 4th and 8 with the season on the line. No better way for the year to end.
Yeah.
Peak Cousins.
Yeah. That is, oh my God. It just, that blew me away. Real quick on the Big O Tires text, I do think Mike Williams could have helped keep the Chargers offense on the field more in the second half. 1,000%. Why does Brandon Staley still have a job? This is one thing. We're going to get into that a little bit later. The Spanos family really likes Staley. They like what he does. So that's the reason why. A lot of people that we know, there are a lot of people out there who think I suck at this job. And that's fine. My boss thinks I do an okay job. All that matters is what your boss thinks.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Like, I mean, that's the way it is.
Yeah.
That's the way it is. And then the Buccaneers were an 8-9 team all year long. Dak looked great, though.
Like I said, if Dak didn't turn the ball over, I thought the Cowboys would roll. Dak doesn't turn the ball over, Cowboys roll.
Yeah. So a lot to get to. We'll talk about the Chiefs. A little injury news. We'll hear from Andy Reid, hear from Patrick Mahomes. The Chiefs play on Saturday. That game will be on the Big 94.5 Country. We got K-State Hoops coming up Saturday, so we'll have the Big 94.5 Country with Chiefs and Jags. And as a texter from the 785 points out, Trevor Lawrence has never lost on a Saturday.
That's a factual statement.
He's also never beaten Pat Mahomes.
Also factual.
He's never won at Arrowhead.
Also factual.
We ain't scared.
I'm a little scared.
I'm not. A
little scared.
Confident right now in the Chiefs. Coming up next, weekend takeaways and fails here on Mic'd Up. Weekends, takeaways, and fails on this Tuesday. This was an extended weekend. Is there a guy who does more kind of and has been a part of more shady stuff than Tom Brady?
Nope.
Spygate, Deflategate, TB12. And then
trying to retire, then buy part of the Dolphins and be their quarterback.
Yeah.
Which also allegedly led to Brian Flores getting fired and Sean Payton trying to come on board.
And then last night, he legitimately tried to slide tackle after an interception. He did. He tried to slide and trip up somebody.
Yes.
Blatantly. Yet, he gets a pass. You want to know why?
I hate it. He's Tom Brady.
He's won 7 Super Bowls.
Golden boy.
Winning cures everything. Everything. And that's what Tom did.
I hated that.
That I was so mad at that.
Oh yeah.
So mad at that. I'm not a huge fan of floppers either. I'm looking at you, Justin Herbert. I can't stand it. Jesse Bates. I'm gonna fake another injury. I can't stand that stuff, man. I cannot.
Do you have any new hatred for Michael Parsons after he, got involved in a huddle, and then as they tried to knock him away, he literally started flailing?
If he fell down, yes.
No, the flailing is enough for me.
He didn't fall down.
He was flailing like he had just been punched.
That and the other thing that was just awful is from the Big O Tires text, winning is the world's greatest deodorant.
Yeah, it is.
Yes, it is. I have never been I've been in a lot of arenas. I don't know if you know this, Fulton. Been in a lot of arenas.
Yeah, you have.
Called a lot of basketball games.
Yeah, you have.
I've never been at an arena where a fan just would not shut up complaining to the officials than Saturday when I was at Pittsburgh State for John Lance Arena. It was Pitt State women versus the Washburn women. I am not kidding you. Every single trip down the court on both sides, that's a foul on Washburn. That wasn't a foul on the whole entire game. It was awful. He also invoked political. I couldn't even believe it. He said, "Yeah, you're probably a Democrat the way you call these games." I'm like, I had to turn around and look at him and be like, did I just hear that?
You did.
I didn't say anything, though.
Good job.
You should be proud of me.
I actually am a little bit.
Coming up next, we're going to talk with Matt Derrick. To Kansas City to talk all things Chiefs football is our Herman's Meat and Smokehouse Chiefs insider, Matt Derrick. You can follow Matt on Twitter at Matt Derrick, ChiefsDigest.com. Very simple, very easy to get all of your news and info on the Kansas City Chiefs. Matt, you are at One Arrowhead Drive, getting ready to watch practice. Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes just spoke. We'll get to those in just a little bit here on the show, but how are things over there at One Arrowhead Drive on a Tuesday?
Yeah, back to normal and back to usual. A little bit odd because normally it's a Sunday game, a little bit different on a Saturday. So we're talking on a Tuesday from the facility instead of the home office. So just got out of the locker room, talking with a few of the players and everything. But as far as the team goes, it's been pretty much business as usual. It seems like everybody had a very relaxful and uneventful bye week. Feels pretty refreshed. Watched the games over the weekend to see what was kind of going to unfold. But so far, everybody's been pretty excited to get back to action and ready to see what happens this weekend.
Is the locker room different right now, like this week, as opposed to other weeks? Does it have a different vibe, different feeling, different aura?
The only thing that was really different today is that Willie Gay is kind of the DJ for this team. He's got one of those gigantic speakers by his locker. And, when he's in there, he starts jamming up the tunes and everything. And normally Willie's not usually around on like Wednesdays and Thursdays. This practice week would be Tuesday and Wednesday. He's usually on Fridays when he's in, when the media's in, and that's when the tunes are jamming. But Willie was in there today. So there was the music popping. The cornerbacks were having a little game, relaxing during their lunch break. So but most of it was pretty normal, but the fact that there were some tunes today definitely made it more lively.
What were some of the things that was said? Did they talk about Wild Card Weekend, or is it strictly all business about the Jags?
No, I was a little bit of everything. This team's certainly pretty focused on the Jags, and I talked to a couple of guys about whether if they were going to face who they were going to face, and obviously most of the focus was on Chargers and Jaguars, and they certainly thought that halftime on Saturday night they were facing the Chargers. So the Jacksonville come from behind win. That's in a message. This team was, from some of the guys I talked to, they were talking about the difficulties of having to face the Chargers a third time. And that's always difficult. But then they're like, yeah, when you see a team makes a comeback like that, it wakes you up. You got to take that team a little bit more seriously. And, I also had a conversation with James Winchester about, Brett Mayer last night, because he was watching that game. And, as a specialist, that really hit home. Seeing the guy struggle like that was really tough to watch and everything. So these guys definitely absorbed it all. They were watching the games, and the fact that they were all close games, especially the Bills and the Bengals games, I think that caught everybody's attention.
All righty. When it comes to the Jags, what were players saying about the Jags? What comes out of, the defense's mind when you see them come back, and the offensive players where, they shut down the Chargers really the entire game. The points were because of short fields. What was said about about the Jags?
Yeah, I think there were two things that kind of resonated with me. One was certainly just that the Jaguars have that, don't give up mentality. They're a tough mental team, and that comes from their head coach. So, I think this team realizes that, hey, if you're in the same situation the Chargers are, that you've got this team, by the nose. You've got a big lead. You can't let up. You've got to keep doing what you're doing to make sure you put them away. And physical was the other part of it. Certainly the defense for the Jaguars, I think you can see it on the film, has been playing more physically. The players see that. But I thought it was really important what, that Patrick Mahomes said, especially about that defense and coordinator Mike Caldwell. And he's faced him before, and him on a coaching staff in Tampa Bay. So he's familiar with the fact that this is a defensive coordinator that, one, can throw some new wrinkles at you, and two, can completely revamp what he's doing to fit the quarterback. So, you can watch the Jaguars on film and you can prepare for all those scouted looks all you want, but the thing you have to be most prepared for is the surprise. What Caldwell could throw at them, what he could utilize that he hasn't done before.
When it comes to this Jag offense, I don't know if I'm worried about it or scared to death. It's one where they can look so bad, like they did, Trevor Lawrence throwing 4 interceptions, and then they can look so good. I don't know what to make of this Jaguars offense.
Yeah, that was an amazing light switch that they flipped, because you're right. That was a brutal first half, and some of those turnovers, and they weren't all Trevor Lawrence's fault. And that's why I'm with Patrick Mahomes. I was really impressed with how he was able to compartmentalize that and set it aside, because a lot of quarterbacks, even veteran quarterbacks, would have a hard time looking at 4 interceptions and going through that in the first half and be able to set it aside and then lead 4 straight touchdown drives. That's just a rare mentality. And I get it. I'm with you, because I thought that this is the team that I don't think the Chiefs wanted to face. Of all the potential playoff matchups this week, I think this was the one that you least wanted to face, because even with the Chargers, that's a team that pretty well. They're not going to have a lot of tricks for you. It's just going to be straight up, who's the better team that day and who can execute better. And I think in that case, I'd favor the Chiefs. And the Ravens and Dolphins, even despite their performances this weekend, both going in the wrong direction. Jacksonville's the opposite. Their arrow has been going up. They've been playing better. They've been playing better defense. And Doug Peterson is a very good coach, and he can pull out all the stops. And what I was most impressed with Peterson on Saturday was just how well he was able to keep his offense calm. Down 20 at halftime, and he was telling them, hey, you don't need to get it all back at one time. You've got to just little bites here and there, and that's exactly what they did. They didn't go down and try and get 20 points in one drive. They went down knowing, hey, we need 4 scores, and they didn't hurry. They went at their pace, and I think that's what you got to do with the Jaguars. If you can contain them and force them a little bit out of their comfort zone and out of their game, then you could beat this team. But it's got to be more like what the Chargers did in the first half than what the Chargers did in the second half.
We're talking with Matt Derrick. He is our Herman's Meat Smokehouse Chiefs insider here on Mic'd Up. You can follow Matt on Twitter at Matt Derrick, ChiefsDigest.com. Can you take anything away from the first meeting between the Chiefs and the Jags? The Chiefs were up 20-0. It wasn't much of a contest, and they also turned it over 3 times. Granted, one of those turnovers didn't really amount to much because the Jags missed a field goal, but they were never threatened by the Jaguars. And so, can you take something from that game as to the Chiefs had a lot of success in that game? And I know the final score is 27 to 17, but was maybe the coolest thing that happened that entire game is the Chiefs ran 11 plays on the last drive of the game to end the game. Like, it's one of the few times where the Chiefs didn't, have to go 3 and out and allow the opposing team to score, go up 3 and then win it. No, they just ran it out. The final 6 minutes of the game was the Chiefs just running out the football. What can you take away from that game in which they won 27-17?
Yeah, I think there are a few things you can take away, and one of them, obviously, I think, is that even though both these teams are different than they were at that point, I still think the Chiefs are the better team. I mean, if they go out and run their game plan and execute, they're a better team.
Mhm.
I mean, they can win this game, but you can't make the same mistakes that you did against Jacksonville, because I think this team is better this time, and you make those mistakes, I think the Jaguars will make you pay. So I think the Chiefs know offensively what they do is going to work. I mean, the key will be at recognizing what adjustments the Jaguars make defensively and making sure that you could adjust to that quickly. And, certainly that's what's in the mindset of this team. And you just, like I said, you just got to be prepared for the physicality, because that was the other thing the Jaguars showed in that game. I mean, they tried to challenge the Chiefs. I mean, they were trying to hit them. Obviously, there were some penalties in that game, probably a few more penalties that should have been called against the Jaguars in that game with their physical play. But I mean, I think there's a little bit you can take away, but obviously, yeah, I mean, there's going to be some changes, there's going to be some adjustments, because I think the Jaguars are playing better football now than they were then.
You mentioned physical. Is that what the Jaguars do? Because when I look at the Jaguars, nothing really jumps out. I mean, they got a Josh Allen who's, a good pass rusher, not that Josh Allen. They're okay at linebacker. They're okay in the secondary, but they're not great. I mean, that's the reason why they only went 9-8 in the regular season. Kirk's an above average wide receiver if you want to add in the offense. So, like, that's the part of me where it just doesn't feel like a scary team. There's a reason why the Chiefs are favored by 8.5.
Yeah, and I talked with some people over the weekend. I kept hearing the phrase, generational quarterback when talking about Trevor Lawrence, and while that second half, almost convinced me that maybe he is. The numbers just aren't there yet. I mean, the performance is not just there yet, and maybe he will get there. Maybe he's still a development. What coaching he went through last year was just as a debacle. So maybe you have to give Doug Peterson another year and see what he's got there. But you're right. I mean, I think this is to me at least a team that is performing over its head. I mean, it's been more than the sum of its parts at this point. But what do they have? I mean, if you don't have the most skilled talent at every position, and you don't have maybe the best quarterback, like the Trevor Lawrence, I think certainly getting better. How do you win games? You win it with physicality. You win it with aggression. You win it with that kind of mentality. So that's how the Jaguars are going to win games. They're going to win games by being more physical than the other team, by winning on the try hard chart, and you do that, and they can make a game of it.
Let's get to some injury news. McCole Hardman doesn't look like he's going to practice today. Is that Andy Reid pretty much saying that McCole Hardman's probably not going to be a factor the rest of this year?
It could very well be. If he's not going to be a factor, certainly at this point, you'd think that they would have to make a move to replace him on the roster. It's just too valuable of a roster spot this time of year. So if he's not going to be there for the Super Bowl, I think at that point they've got to make a decision about what they're going to do with him. But it's not a good sign. I mean, they feel like they have to back him off again because it's just not there yet. And what we're not entirely clear with yet is exactly what it is. Is it the original injury, or is it more to do with the groin that's popped up since then? Are the two connected? I mean, the Chiefs have been the opposite of transparent on McCole's injury. So knowing exactly what the nature of it's difficult to ascertain. But yeah, I mean, if this is another setback, it makes you really wonder if he can be any help in the next 2 weeks. And if not that, then, can he be there for the Super Bowl? And if not, he's taking up a roster spot. So they got to make some sort of decision, I would think, at some point with McCole.
How big of a deal is this?
I mean, on one hand, I mean, I think it obviously having McColl out there makes them a better team, but at the same time, I mean, look what they've been doing without him. I mean, they've been winning football games, and the offense has been performing well. The return of Kadarius Toney certainly helps because now they've got a guy that can replicate a couple of the things McColl Hardman does. He can't do the whole playbook of it, but they can add some wrinkles in there, and obviously some explosive wrinkles. So I mean, hey, I think they're a better team with McColl Hardman. There's no doubt. They're certainly deeper. Without him, they can't necessarily deal as easily with another injury. That would be a problem. They'd love to have him back, but at the same time, I don't think it's a deal breaker because you look at how this team has been performing in the last 6 weeks offensively. They've been fine.
All right, I want to get into coaching a little bit. At least I have said on this, and I think Fulton is starting to come around with me on the whole coaching aspect of it. I don't know if Doug Peterson is a great coach, or is it more so he's an average coach and other head coaches are just so dumb and bad that they make average coaches like Doug Peterson look great. Do you see what I'm saying here? Because what we saw this weekend, I don't think what Doug Peterson did, you are correct. Keeping the team calm, steering the ship in stormy waters, if you will. But everybody's just lauding Doug Peterson going, oh my gosh, I can't believe he went for 2. Look at that. That's it. Yes, that was the correct way to do it. The whole point is to win the game in regulation. Plus, I think Doug Peterson thinks like a lot of us. Fulton and I have said this a lot. Now I've more so come around with what Fulton said. Being down 4 is not terrible instead of being down 3. Makes you more aggressive. So they would have to get the touchdown if they don't get it. But guess what? They got it. Fortune favors the bold sometimes. Like, I don't look at that going for it on the 2-point conversion to get 1 yard, this like, oh my gosh, he reinvented the wheel type thing. But when you look at what like John Harbaugh and Mike McDaniels and, these type of coaches, I'm just thinking to myself that they're not smart.
I think it's a good question. I mean, and I have the same question myself because I probably use the word great with Doug Peterson, and I don't know that maybe he's technically earned it.
I mean, he did win a Super Bowl, so I mean,
he's got a Super Bowl.
Yes,
exactly. Yeah, I mean, so you got to put him in a certain category, but then hey, John Harbaugh and Mike Tomlin haven't been fired, so something happened with Doug Peterson, so that he'll still be in Philadelphia. I think there's certainly to this good job that he's good at, but here's probably the thing for me about Doug Peterson is that I think that when his back is against the wall and in big situations, I think he is one of the better coaches. And maybe it's just because he's got that mentality, but you don't see Doug Peterson in big moments lose his mind. And that's what you see with some other coaches. And especially, coaches their first time around in the league. I mean, I think that's pretty common. They can just, sometimes get overwhelmed by the moment. Doug doesn't get overwhelmed by the moment, and he is not afraid to pull out anything at any time. And that's why I think the Jaguars are dangerous, because I fully expect that Doug Peterson's going to pull out everything in his bag of tricks this weekend. And he's got a bigger bag of tricks than Mike McDaniel does and Brandon Staley does.
Who had the bigger meltdown or worse coaching decisions? Was it Staley, was it McDaniel, or was it Harbaugh?
I think I have to go with Staley. I mean, that's just too big of a lead to blow away there. And I mean, I got the idea of getting away from the run because they tried to run the ball in the second half and they weren't going anywhere. I mean, the Jaguars just absolutely took that away. But the play calling for the Chargers this entire season has just been mind-boggling. And so to me, I mean, it was just a continuation. I mean, they did what they had to do today with letting go of Joe Lombardi and their quarterbacks coach. I mean, it's either that or fire the head coach. And I certainly didn't get the idea the Chargers were going to do that, but they broke their quarterback this year. I mean, they turned what Justin Herbert looking like one of the best quarterbacks in the AFC and turned him into a game manager this year. And that's bad coaching move. And I think that game the other day was just an extension of that.
All right, let's get to the best weekend of football, the divisional round. 4 games. We'll start Chiefs and Jaguars. Chiefs 8.5-point favorite. Who you got?
Yeah, I'm taking the Chiefs. The spread's about right. I would not bet this game, but I will be taking, I think, the Chiefs and the over.
Alrighty, primetime game, Saturday, Giants-Eagles. Who do you like?
Yeah, that one, I think the Eagles pretty easy. I think they're just a better team. Giants, great win, but I think the Eagles are better.
Are you not worried at all about Jalen Hurts?
A little, but I still think the Eagles. Yeah, Hurts is good, but I think that the Eagles are still the more complete team.
Sunday, Bengals, Bills. Bills 4.5-point favorite.
Yeah, I don't know what to expect from this one because honestly, neither one of those teams looked good in Wild Card Weekend. I thought they both played below expectation and got themselves into situations they didn't belong in. So I don't know. I mean, I should probably go with the home team, but right now I think Joe Burrow is playing better than Josh Allen. So I'm going to go with who do I think is the better quarterback and the better coach right now? I think that's the Bengals. Bengals in an upset.
Alrighty. Lastly, 49ers and Cowboys.
Yeah, great performance from Dak last night. If he can replicate that, they're going to be a problem. But I think they had more to do with the Buccaneers than the goodness of the Cowboys. So I think the 49ers hold there. I think they pull off the win.
All right. So you've got in your bracket Chiefs, Bengals at Arrowhead, and you got Niners and Eagles in Philly. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Can't wait for this weekend.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say Chiefs, Eagles, or Super Bowl.
Chiefs, Eagles, Super Bowl. All right, real quick, last two for the road. Final two questions that I've got for you. Did the whole choice of home field advantage versus take the bye week, that ended all discussion? You take the bye week, right?
Oh, I take the bye week, absolutely. Yep.
Yeah, I don't know why people thought that was the thing. Like, I really don't. When people on social media were discussing it, I'm thinking to myself, look what the Bengals and Bills had to go through. Yeah, the Chiefs didn't have to go through that. So, of course, you take the bye week. Home field advantage might be a little bit overrated when it comes to that. And lastly, when it comes to the future of Tom Brady, where does he end up?
I mean, if I'm him, I certainly don't stick to Tampa Bay. Where's he going to go? I have no idea. I mean, there's nothing that totally makes sense. I mean, I could see Vegas, but I don't think he's the missing piece. I don't know. I mean, I really don't know for sure where he's going to end up. I mean, what makes sense? I don't know what makes sense. And I get that, a team, there's going to be some team that thinks he's the missing piece of the Super Bowl run. But from what I saw this season and what I saw last night, it's not the same Tom Brady. And I'm not sure he's the GOAT anymore.
Well, as always, Matt, we appreciate it. Enjoy watching practice here coming up from Arrowhead.
Absolutely. Talk to you guys later. Take care.
Matt Derrick, ChiefsDigest.com. Does he end up somewhere like wild?
He needs to go home.
New England?
No, he needs to go home, sit on his couch, and stop playing football.
Go home.
Just call it, man.
He's playing.
Go
next
home.
year. No question.
Just go home, brother. It's over. It's done.
Coming up, we're going to hear from head coach Andy Reid. Everyone loves the list. Sunflower Showdown edition. That's right. 6 o'clock. KU K-State. We'll get to that coming up here on Mic'd Up. Here on Mic'd Up. Thank you so much for joining us. Jake Vaughn along with Fulton Caster. Want to thank Matt Derrick for coming on, talking all things Chiefs and a little bit of Jaguars. We're going to hear from Andy Reid momentarily. We'll hear from Patrick Mahomes. We'll have Everyone Loves the List, Sunflower Showdown edition. Your top Sunflower Showdown basketball games.
Quick, how many K-State wins do you think I have on my list?
Okay. We're going to go with top Sunflower Showdown games.
Yeah.
Okay. games.
Yeah.
Like the games.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you're going to have 0 because you're a KU grad. But the games when K-State wins are epic.
No, they have been. No, I'll give K-State credit.
Yeah.
Those are fun.
We'll get to our list of Sunflower Showdown.
This is legitimately
games.
kind of easier to create this list than I expected it to be, but I'm able to remember my 4 favorites pretty quickly.
There are 3 that jump out to me very easily. The 4th one I had to think about. Yeah, but 3 jumped out easily for me. We'll get to that. We're going to hear from Mahomes. We got a little odds makers, and we'll talk more Sunflower Showdown coming up in the 2:00 hour. But Chiefs Jags will be on Saturday, 2:00 with the pregame coverage, 3:30 kickoff from Arrowhead on the Big 94.5 Country. So mention that will be on the Big 94.5 Country. Mentioning from the Jags from the Big O Tires text line, and let us know, 785-272-9429. No one expects the Jags to win. They have nothing to lose. Peterson is a good coach, knows what it takes to win the playoffs, familiar with the Chiefs. This team scares me. I don't want them. They probably shouldn't. I just don't feel good about it. I still don't want to face the Chargers because the Chargers know the Chiefs better than anybody, even better than the Bengals. The difference is that the Bengals don't charger, whereas the Chargers charger. I still wouldn't want to. I'm glad. I am glad we're facing the Jaguars. I don't think they are crazy dynamic. I think their defense is okay. There's a reason why the Jacksonville Jaguars finished the regular season 9-8. All right, just like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers went 8-9. Do I get the scary part of it? Yes. Peterson's going to go for broke. Expect a fake punt at some point in time, some fluke plays. Yes. But coaching only matters so much. That's why I said it's 51% the players. You still got to play. Mahomes is a better quarterback. The Chiefs have a better defense. The Chiefs have better weapons. The Chiefs have a better offensive line. They have better players. And if the Chiefs just go about their business, they will win this game by double figures. That's the reason why I can't say that about the Chargers. Because the Chargers have better players than the Jags do. They do. Herbert's a better quarterback, in my opinion. But coaching, they were at such a loss. Joe Lombardi. We told you Joe Lombardi was a terrible offensive coordinator hire.
Yeah, we did.
Terrible. Brandon Staley has proven now over the last 2 years, not the greatest head coach. I think the Chiefs are well coached. I mean, we're talking about Andy Reid to Brandon Staley, Andy Reid to Joe Lombardi. That's the reason why I'm not, just shaking in my boots about the Jaguars. I would rather play the Jaguars than I would the Chargers. That's just me, because I've seen what the Chargers can do to the Chiefs. I'm sorry, but the Chargers don't have, or the Jaguars don't have someone who's going to powerbomb Travis Kelce in Derwin James.
I mean, it comes down to this for me when it comes to the Chiefs and the Jags is the Jags don't have a game record.
They don't.
On our side of the football.
Like Christian Kirk, he's their game record. Like Etienne, good running back.
Yeah.
Good running back.
Chiefs held them in check first round.
Yeah. I mean, their last games are against the Titans, who stink. The Texans stink. Jets stink. Cowboys, shootout. And then they beat the Titans again. They lost to the Lions. Like, the Chiefs to me are the biggest favorite over the weekend for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not sold on the Eagles over the Giants yet because I don't know how good Hurts is. When I say good, I don't know how healthy he is.
Yeah.
He needs to be healthy. Andy Reid met with the media. Big Red just had one injury note, and that was McCole Hardman. And that is a big deal. McCole Hardman in the red zone is a big deal. Imagine Hardman and Tony on different sides. You don't know what jet sweep's going on. They could run a motion with Hardman, fake it to him, and then run a back jet sweep with Tony. By the way, that's definitely been planned. Definitely has been planned. They fake it to Hardman going on jet sweep this way. Tony waits a little bit. They run like the option down the sideline, and Tony cuts back, hands it off. Telling you, that's in the playbook. So I do think that is a big deal. But Andy Reid met with the media. Here's what he had to say.
Won't practice today. Really, it's just McCole. We're just going to back off him a little bit and see if we can't get it feeling better. He's been pushing it hard, and it's not responding the way that he wants it, or we want it to. So we'll back off on that. So we look forward to the challenge of everybody else will practice. We look forward to the challenge of playing Jacksonville. We know they're a good football team. They've only lost one game since we played them. So I mean, it's they're playing real good football. And we know they're well coached, and so we're going to get ourselves ready this week with some good practices. The other two I probably should mention today are Clyde and Jody will practice today. So we're going to ease them back in, just see how they do. Try to get them back in the swing of things. Anyways, with that, time's yours.
Andy, you mentioned things are different with Jacksonville. What stands out to you just from off the top of course, with the winning that you won? What stands out to you mostly that you've seen different from the last time you faced?
Yeah, their offense is executing very well. I think they've got a pretty good grasp of what Doug's expecting from them. And I'd say the same thing with Mike Caldwell's defense, that they've got a lot of phenomenal players on that defense, and they're playing faster than we saw them the last time. I think they're just more comfortable overall. The speed comes with that. So,
Andy, what is it about Doug and his personality that guys seem to respond to him as players? And
Sure.
seem to enjoy playing for him.
Yeah. So he played, obviously, and he knows the kind of coaching he liked and didn't like. And so within his own personality, he presents it in a friendly manner, but yet demanding of the guys. And, I think that's a positive. He was that way. I was with him when he was a player, and I've been with him as a coach. So he's got a good way about him.
Coach, what stands out to you the most, the way he was able to lead that team, how they closed out that season, and their ability to come back?
Yeah. Tremendous coaching job, phenomenal coaching job. Imagine he's up for the coach of the year. I mean, by his performance and how he's resurrected that program there. And that's not an easy thing to do, and he's done it as well or better than anybody. So,
and with such a young team, particularly rookies, second-year players, is it more positive for you guys to have played them before this particular game in the postseason, or are there just normal advantages of knowing that you've at least played this team?
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be some familiarity on both sides. I think. I think they'll feel probably the same way, but we're a little different, and they're a little different in some areas too. So I think for the young guys, that was a good experience to play against them. They know the speed of the players that they're going to play against. But they've put in a few more wrinkles in there. So you got to make sure that you get all that covered. But if I said, will it help you or hurt you? I'd say it probably helped. But again, I think those kids have really progressed and done a nice job with it.
Coach, what do you, for Trevor Lawrence, seeing what he was able to do, 4 interceptions in the first half, bring the team back in the manner which you did. What to say for that type of confidence that team was going to have coming into Arrowhead?
Oh yeah, they'll be they'll be confident. They should be. So he did a great job of that, of not falling apart and making it happen. So it doesn't happen very often in this league. He did a nice job of that.
Coach, when it comes to Nicole, it sounds like it's been a very unique situation with maybe being able to play, maybe not. Do you guys still have optimism that he'll be back at some point during the season?
Yeah, he does, and we do. Yeah, you want to try not to take steps back, it's not that we've taken steps back. It's just that it's not getting where it needs to be, where he can go. So my feeling is that if we just back off on it and let it rest a little bit here, and do his rehab and that he has a chance to get better. But we don't, he doesn't want it, and we don't want it. We don't want to put him out in a bad situation. So where he can't play.
Andy, I think the one injury from the regular season finale was Frank Clark. Does he appear to be trending in the right direction?
Yeah, Frank is. He has been working very hard at that. But yes, he's progressing. Yeah.
Coach, we're going to get Nick Bolton here shortly. And it seems like after every game, you always make it a point to mention his tackles. But when you look at his entire regular season body of work, how impressive has his production been this year?
Yeah, I think he's done a great job. He of understanding and leading the defense. So he's got to make all the calls. He's the transmitter between the front and the back end. And so he's done, I just think, a great job of communicating that and still being, with that load, still being the player and making the tackles that he's made. He's as sure a tackler as you have in this league right now. So.
And there was a bunch of small differences, but when you look at Patrick this year, maybe compared to last year, what stands out as maybe the pieces that he's found?
I think he's done a great job of working with change. That was something that he didn't have to worry about for a few years there. So all of a sudden his coach leaves, position coach, new one comes in, he works with that. All of a sudden his receiving core, for the most part, exception McCole, they leave, new group comes in. And he didn't flinch on it. He didn't complain. He didn't, run up to Veach and go, what are we doing? That's not what he did. He just said, I understand, let's go. And that's my hat goes off to him for doing that. And then playing at the level he's playing at, and those guys are playing at, tremendous.
Look, I know Eric Bieniemy had a head coach interview with Indianapolis. Are you expecting any of your other coaches or him to have any more this week leading up to the game?
I haven't heard anything, no.
What are some of the things you've seen from the rookie defensive backs that suggest that they're ready to take this next step in the challenge in the playoffs?
Yeah. So I thought they progressively got better through the year. In particular, kind of down the stretch there. They started getting their hands on balls. Not always interceptions, but they were in position to make the play. I thought their tackling improved the angles that they were taking. So that comes down to I look at that and I go, all right, speed of the game. They're getting a better feel for that. And this will be faster than the other ones. That's how it works in the playoffs. So they'll have to take another step here.
Andy,
Couple more guys.
Andy, Travis Kelce had mentioned a week ago that you could get his father open. He kind of joked around and said that. But Jerry McKinnon, though, you've always been able to have the ability to get him open. He's on a consecutive touchdown streak. What is it about him, especially since last year he had kind of the same late season swoons in the season that has just you've seen in him that able to get him to get?
Very smart, very good football player. Kind of the awareness part, all the intangible things. He has that. He can see the field, feel it. He was a quarterback. I think probably helped him because you have to be able to do that. And he was able to transfer that into the run blocking. He had to know that as a quarterback. Okay, how are they blocking here, and how are they setting up a 3 technique so I can work off of it. All those little things he's very good at. And then as far as the getting open part, that's all the coaches. Everybody has a piece of that pie, and even some of the players, so they put in, they enjoy doing that. So That's everybody. Yeah.
Good. You guys are high on the team goals, but with McKinnon getting the player of the month, like, how did the team react to a really part-time rotational guy being able to win an award almost with half the snaps?
Yeah, listen, they love McKinnon. So he's that kind of guy. He's like everybody's big brother. And he's funny. He's got that high-pitched voice, and I mean, he's funny as all get out. So, everybody thinks the world of him or loved him. Any accolades he gets, they love. So.
Last two will go Herbie and then Nate.
Coach, for clarification purposes, Edwards-Helaire and Forson, they have been designated to return from injury.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Last one.
And we saw a number of games also this past week where short yardage becomes even more critical. When you get to those situations, particularly when the game, perhaps your season's on the line, what are the key points, the pinpoints that you want to sort of remind the guys when it gets to those sort of down distances? The game can be won or lost on a short yardage.
Yeah, sure. Well, execution is probably one. You gotta block them. You're saying on the offensive side, right? So you got the blocking becomes most important. And then if it's a pass, the execution of the route running, you're never sure what the coverage is going to be exactly. So you got to be sharp on that. If it's a run play, when your juices are flowing and you're going to be handed that ball, can you just pump the brakes for a tick? Let those guys take care of business and then hit it from there.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Coach.
That is head coach Andy Reid, met with the media today. Coming up next, everyone loves the list. Topic, Sunflower Showdown games on the hardwood. What ones do we remember? We'll get to that coming up next.
Moments like hearing my cat purr.
Sunflower Showdown tonight. 6 o'clock tip-off, 5 o'clock pregame coverage right here on your home for K-State Athletics, 580 WIBW, FM 104.9. All right. Top 5 Sunflower Showdown games that you remember. You shouldn't have to look these up. What do you got?
For me, I decided to go with a bit of a defensive struggle for my number 4 on this list. 2013, KU wins 59-55 at Bramlage Coliseum. That was one of the last times these two teams were both basically near the top 10. I think K-State was officially 11th during that meeting.
Okay.
But it's a nice little low-scoring, tough battle, but was still a good one because both teams were so good at that time.
Yeah.
That's why that one gets a a nice little spot.
Number 4 for me last year at Bramlett.
That was a doozy.
KU.
That was a great one.
K-State up 16 at the half. They scored 50 in the first half. They were up 50-34. KU comes back to win. That one was a fun
awesome
game. That was a fun game.
That was so good. Number 3 for me, we go to 2018. KU wins 73-72 at Allen Fieldhouse. Malik Newman with the go-ahead free throws with 15 seconds left.
That was a good one.
That was a good little back and forth contest.
Number 3 for me, it was, as Bill Self called it, the Jacob Pullen game. Jacob Pullen had 38.
I don't like to remember that.
2011. He had 38. Self said Jacob Pullen was unstoppable. I remember that game. That game was incredible.
Number 2 for me, just last year, 2022, when KU rallied to win 78-70, did not take a lead until Ochai Abaji's weird spin layup near the end of the game.
Yep.
The other part that makes that great to me is the storyline of Bill Self's father passing away so recently. It's a very emotionally charged game.
Mm-hmm.
I remember watching that and was like, well, they're getting killed. I hate this here. And then the comeback was just one of the greatest things I've ever seen.
Number 2. Oh, man. The Speed Travel game.
Yes!
It had to be in there. 2017.
Yeah, it did.
Speed traveled. He did. And every KU fan, you can admit it. You got away with one.
100%.
He traveled. He
did.
He took 3.5, almost depending upon when you think he picked up the ball.
Took like 5 steps.
It was a no question travel. No question travel.
Oh, 110%. Without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah.
That's my number 1 is the Speed Travel game. Partly because it was my 21st birthday was that game. I am drinking my first legal beer in a bar watching that game.
Yeah.
I watched that travel. I'm laughing my ass off the entire night. Easily number 1.
Number 1. This one was a no question for me. Jonathan Beasley. Or Michael Beasley, excuse me. Michael Beasley putting K-State on his back and ending the streak. That was incredible. 2008, K-State getting the win over the Hawks. Number 1 Sunflower Showdown for me because that was so big for when he played. Coming up next, we're going to talk with Brandon Dworzynski with a little CrossTalk. Showdown coming up tonight, 6 o'clock. Tip-off. 5 o'clock pregame coverage right here on your home for K-State Athletics. 580 WIBW FM 104.9. And it's on big ESPN. ESPN regular. ESPN the dad, not ESPN 2 or ESPN,
U or News.
ESPN.
Yeah.
The Ocho.
The one that started it all.
Mm-hmm.
Tonight at 6 o'clock. I'm looking forward to it. KU a 1.5 point favorite today over K-State. We'll get to more of that coming up in the 2 o'clock hour. Jerome Tang. Gosh, I like Jerome Tang.
Agreed.
He spoke to the media yesterday, and we're going to get to that coming up as well. But right now we bring in Brendan Dorsinski from 580 Sports Talk. Brendan, do you have a top 1 or 2 Sunflower Showdown games?
Yeah, I mean, the 3 that stand out to my mind all come within the last 4 years or so.
Now, is that recency bias? Because 2 of my top 3 and Svi's came, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, 5 years ago. So mine are not recent. They were, the Michael Beasley game, the Svi non-travel game.
Yep. Svi dribbling to the basket and laying the ball up.
That's
That's
what the
that is what the box score says.
That's what the box score says, but my eyes tell me different. The Jacob Pullen game was one of the greatest performances I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Was Pullen going for 38. And then last year's game.
Yeah, I mean, I'd go 2 and 2. The one where what was it? What year was it? It must have been Pullen. 20.
It was 11.
Okay, no, I'm thinking of a different game. What am I? 2014. It would have been 2014 at Bramlage. K-State won. That was the Jamari Traylor pow game.
Oh yeah,
where
Jamari Traylor should have decked that dude in the face.
Oh yeah. And
he
I would have paid his bail. I would have out of pocket. Where Holly Rowe during the post game had to climb up on the announce table as it was starting to collapse.
Yeah,
that was great because that was my first time as like a student at KU. I saw the rivalry up close and personal. Also, I mean, if you're a K-State fan, how do you not include 2019 at Bramlage? You win by 11.
Yeah.
That was the year you won the league. Cardi had his big dunk.
But he hurt his hand on the dunk. That just
you did it for the moment. You did it for for the Instagram picture. He had to do
it for the vine.
KU last year at Bramlage, obviously that was a big deal. That was the game after Self's dad had died too.
Yep.
And the other one, I cannot believe you didn't put this on your list. It's the stool.
I want you to know, Brendan.
Silvio DeSosa was jumped by a couple of street clothes wearing K-State hooligans. Yeah, James Love, that's you. If you're listening, hit me up at Brendan DCW on Twitter. We'll talk about it, you hooligan. Jumped and had to defend himself with a weapon.
That's not how I saw it.
I wanted to be
He
clear.
did get, for the record, he did get jumped. Silvio
for
was
the
in
record,
the wrong
that
for
part
like,
is true.
He was
For-
like 85 to 90% in the wrong there, but he did, like, James Love, what are you doing?
True.
To paraphrase Fran Fraschilla, that was more effort than James Love gave in 4 years on the court at K-State.
The fact that he did grab a stool and was gonna go WWE style.
Let's also not forget Jeremy Case breaking his wrist in the fight,
Yeah,
flying in to rip guys away.
He did. That was wild. I forgot.
I
about
remember
that.
watching that game at home and was never more delighted that because I was like, all right, KU wins. Then just watching that unfold in front of me on a TV screen was just, it was so funny.
And because Silvio had gone so insanely over the top, people forget David McCormick nearly like put some dudes in the hospital. He was swinging.
Yeah,
he
Dave
was
was
suspended
throwing
for that.
haymakers.
He was swinging.
Yeah.
The next game, because McCormick got, I think, a 1-game suspension,
Yeah, he
although it
did.
might have been more. It might have been 3. But KU's big man rotation included a lot of Mitch Lightfoot the next couple of games.
Jump.
A lot of Mitch.
Jumped is a strong word there, but
No.
Yeah, they jumped
Silvio
him.
was jumped.
They jumped him.
you
He
guys
may
know-
have started
Silvio
it.
did the provocation. He also
Yeah.
did the worst
That's
part of it.
bad.
David McCormick was also swinging.
That's why you.
But he got jumped.
You don't get jumped when you start it. All right.
No. You get jumped when people you don't see coming attack you. That's getting jumped.
No, but you only get jumped when you didn't do anything wrong. All
Hey,
Not
right.
play
necessarily.
basketball. There's a hard foul. That's
Hard
basketball.
foul.
You guys, I
Hard
can't
foul.
even-
That's basketball.
I can't even have a conversation with you about that.
That was an honorable mention for me, and I should
Silvio did
have
no wrong.
I should have put that on my list for the fact that for a good chunk of time, my header on Twitter was Silvio holding the stool.
Oh my
Someone made
God.
a graphic of the Jayhawk holding a stool. I don't actually know if it was a KU fan or a K-State fan. It's extremely funny. I didn't see the initial, like, the spark to that fight. KU blew him out. I mean, it wasn't close. Christian
No.
Brown had 20 points in that game. It was his best game as a freshman. Like, I was putting my computer in my backpack. I was ready to walk downstairs, get to the media room. And then I hear the crowd go, whoa! And I thought, whoa, what happened here? And then I see K-State guys running off the bench. And then the stool came out. And yeah, that was a memorable. That's a top 3, like, most unforgettable moment at Allen Fieldhouse for me. Snoop Dogg's number 1, by the way. Snoop Dogg is number 1.
He's 1, he's 2, he's 8, he's 9. He's just everything.
Every time I hear Young, Wild, and Free now, I think about that night. Every single time.
All I can think about after that, when at first I think of the dog with a giant joint,
The dog
Trying to
with the
hand it
giant
to
joint.
Matt Galloway,
And
formerly
then-
of the Cap Journal.
and then there's a money gun that they shot right at the face of who was it? The walk on.
That was Tehan. That was
Yeah.
young Chris Tehan.
Yeah. And then Jeff Long going acrobatic dancers.
Oh,
That was awesome.
That was
every ounce
amazing.
of that
Bill
moment was
Self
beautiful.
left early, right? He couldn't even watch it. He had to leave early. Hilarious.
That was amazing. From the Twitter side of things, from Cole, overtime game in Manhattan in 2010. That was when Sharon Collins made the layup for the win.
Yep.
That was an awesome game. Yes, no question.
That shot was in the KU pregame video for
yeah.
a long time.
That game was awesome. There was some high level dudes in that one. That was when Pullen and Clemente, their junior year. That had some dudes in that one. A lot of NBA guys. That was a fun one. There's been a lot of good games.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing, picking out all of the games there. You know, and I didn't even mention any of the Dean Wade, Barry Brown ones. Well,
Yeah,
I guess
there were a couple
that's
of good
the
ones.
speed non-travel one, I guess you could say.
There was another good one.
Where Barry Brown missed the 3-pointer to win it.
Yeah, was that 2018?
Yes.
I think it was 18. Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, that was really, what was final score was like 83-81, 83-82,
Yeah,
something like that.
yeah.
Yeah, it was a great game.
Yeah,
That was at Allen Fieldhouse.
Doak, I think, had a dunk,
Mhm.
and then K-State had a chance to win. Not a great shot. Kind of reminds me of the Iowa State 3-point attempt there by Grill.
Someone mentioned
They just
after
want
the
it too
game,
bad.
there's a different angle than the broadcast one. You can see when Caleb Grill fired that shot, he wasn't even looking at the basket. He was looking the complete opposite direction. He had no desire to actually shoot the ball. He was just hunting a foul, which, by the way, he did all game, and it was very funny that he missed.
That just happens in at Allen Fieldhouse.
It'd be like that sometimes. Gonna be exciting tonight, though.
I think so. I'm gonna go with KU.
Yeah.
Simply because I think KU has 4, but now 4.5, because KJ Adams is now almost like a full player right now. That's how well he's playing. So KU with 4.5 players to K-State's 3.5.
Who's the half?
KJ Adams. I'm not there yet.
I will offer you an opposing hot take. There are 2 players right now you cannot take off the floor for KU. Number 1 is DeJuan Harris. Number 2 is KJ Adams.
I think
he is the second most irreplaceable player that KU has.
This is accurate.
In terms of value to the team, because they have no replacements, I agree with that, but I still don't like I'm not going to ride with KJ Adams needing to score 22 to win games.
No, I wouldn't ride with him needing 22, but I, at this point, believe he can get you 12 plus every game.
And that's what we said. If KJ Adams gets you 12, we said not even 12, double figures, right? If KJ Adams scores 10 points, KU is almost unbeatable.
He's been their second best player.
He's played great. Played great.
All Big 12 players.
So I think, but KU has no bench.
No.
And zero bench. If KU gets in foul trouble and K-State can get into that bench with Clements and Pettiford and Yesufu and
Zuby,
whoever's not going to play very well, that's their hope. And then they got to shoot the 3 well. K-State's got to shoot the 3 well. But it should be a lot of fun tonight. I enjoy KU K-State.
That'll be a good time.
Should be a good one. I wonder when the last time it was a 1.5 point spread. Was K-State ever?
What was that 2019 game?
Was K-State ever favored with Barry Brown and Dean Wade?
I don't know about that year. I don't know. It was fairly close when they played in Lawrence that year. KU was favored, I believe. KU ended up winning that game by a lot in Lawrence. I don't remember what it was in Manhattan though. And it's been 4 years since this game meant anything.
Yeah, since the Barry Brown Dean Wade era. Yeah, for sure. Let's go to the NFL side of things. Best game of the weekend.
Best game of the weekend? Man, I think it was Giants Vikings. That was the best football game of the weekend. In terms of quality of play, level of excitement and intrigue. Bills Dolphins was close. That was not a well-played game. I don't think last night was awful, but the Sunday night game either. That was not a good game. That was a messy game. Credit to Baltimore because they looked pretty darn good, but that was not a game where I was like, oh man, this is high level professional football. No, that game was pretty gross. The Saturday game, Saturday night, all-time memorable game. Not a good game, though. The Chargers looked awesome early. The Jaguars were horrific, and then they flipped the script in the second half, and you got the Joe Lombardi experience. By the way, I'll take my victory lap on Joe Lombardi.
Oh, we all said that one was a terrible decision. That was not smart.
Yeah. But that dude screwed up Calvin Johnson, Drew Brees, and Justin Herbert. That's Joe Lombardi's resume.
That's a hat trick.
Yeah. That's his resume as an OC and a quarterback coach.
Well, he's not a quarterback coach because they fired their quarterback coach.
Well, in New Orleans.
Oh, okay, got it.
He was the QB coach.
Yes. No, not smart. Who had the worst coaching gaffe?
Worst coaching gaffe? Oh, Harbaugh. Easy.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm with that. We were both on the same side of Harbaugh.
Because
not once, but twice.
Yeah, I think when they had 2 timeouts and had a first down it was somewhere between a minute and a minute 30. That is when you had to call a timeout.
It was a minute to go. They had the first down run.
And he was saying, well, we wanted to make sure we got into the red zone. Jim Harbaugh also not great with the clock in his last game of the season. John, your season ends in the next minute and a half. You don't have the luck. This isn't week 9, right? There's not, Lamar might be back next week and we can be a little cautious here. No, your season ends in the next 35 yards and in the next 90 seconds. You cannot say, well, we'll wait to see if we get into this scenario. That's losing football. That is a losing mindset and a losing approach to playing. Instead, you could have called the timeout in that spot, said, all right, we have one timeout left. We want to keep this as long as we can. We're going to call 2 plays in the huddle. I'm sure Tyler Huntley could have called 2 plays in the huddle and knew what to do, snap 1, snap 2. Huntley played okay, better than he had earlier in the year before he got hurt. You could have made that happen and set yourself up in a better spot. Instead, I guess they're going to try to pay Lamar in that extra timeout. They're going to say, hey, will you take this extra timeout? That was by far the worst. Staley screwed up brutally. If you're talking big picture, is Todd Bowles still the Buccaneers head coach?
No.
No, like right now, is he still their head coach? Has he been fired today?
Not yet.
Then it's too late.
He will be.
It's too late.
That team had bad mojo the entire year.
I guess Leftwich got fired, but man, he went from being the favorite to get a head coaching job not even 12 months ago to getting fired and probably going to be like the Colts quarterback coach. That's wild.
I look at it as the worst was when you had the foot. Do you think Tyler Huntley did the quarterback sneak on his own? Or was that called?
At the goal line?
Yeah.
Oh, I think it was called.
Do you think,
well, Harbaugh said it was called because
he's not going to throw his quarterback under the bus.
No, but by the same token, J.K. Dobbins also effectively said that he was not in the play call. Did you see that quote from him after the game?
I did not.
No, J.K. Dobbins said, I'm sick of not getting the ball in those situations. Tyler should not have even been in that position. He wasn't trying to throw Huntley under the bus, but he pretty much said, look at what I have done in this game, which is true. Bengals could not stop J.K. Dobbins when he got going head down, full head of steam. Could not do it.
Yes.
Harbaugh's explanation after the game was, we didn't want to be moving backwards to move forward with a handoff. We just wanted to go straight into the line with a quarterback. We thought we had the play. He said that Huntley did the wrong thing. Huntley jumped.
Yes.
It was supposed to be a burrow play. Like literally BORROUGH, burrow into the line.
Yeah, like a prairie dog.
So no, that was the play call because Dobbins said the same thing. The play call was for Huntley.
Okay.
Which
Either way,
is also why are you calling that from the 2?
Yeah, exactly. The play call is bad. Huntley's decision
He's
is
not
bad.
Cam. He's physical, but he ain't Cam Newton.
And you're at the 2.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, Harbaugh blew that game.
Oh, twice, 2 different times. And Mike McDaniels, I thought we had a first down. You did what?
I imagine that was him trying to save face for someone, but that's dumb, dude. No one else thought that. Whole world knew what down it was except you. Look at the dial of down.
Yeah, that there's some bad football play. All righty. Are you? I'm not worried about the Jags game more so than. I would be more worried if they played the Chargers. I would instead of the Jags. Do I think can the Jags beat the Chiefs? Obviously, yes, they can. But I look at this Chiefs-Jags game a lot differently than apparently a lot of people do. Some people are already on the, oh man, the Jags have nothing to lose, and they don't. They really don't. They're gonna onside kicks and they're gonna do everything. A whole bunch of trick plays would be my guess. But I feel like the Chiefs have the most comfortable advantage over this entire divisional weekend. And I personally don't think it's close.
Yeah, I mean, the Chiefs are going to tear up that secondary again. Yes. I'm not really all that worried. No, I think the Chiefs are going to win. If you're talking gambling purposes, that spread's a little big for me, a little rich for my blood, especially for a playoff game. 2 teams that have already faced each other. Doug Peterson obviously knows the Chiefs quite well, knows Chiefs players quite well. I think the Chiefs win. I'm at a point where I think the Chiefs right now are probably still your favorites to get to the Super Bowl. I don't think this weekend changes anything like that. In fact, it might strengthen the belief in the Chiefs a little bit because I think both the Bills and Bengals looked beatable.
I think, to me, the Bengals' biggest concern is their O-line.
Oh, for sure. With Jonah Williams out, that's
I mean,
tough.
They have 2, maybe 3 starters that are starting now. That's a problem.
Yeah, no, that's a major problem. So
if the Bengals' offensive line was healthy, I think I would, and we'll have to wait and see what happens this week. But if the Bengals' offensive line is healthy, I think the Bengals beat the Bills.
What's your Super Bowl matchup right now?
I think I lean Chiefs-Eagles.
I'm going Chiefs-49ers.
Yeah, Chiefs-49ers.
And here's the reason why. I don't know how, if it is Hurts healthy? Is Jalen Hurts playing healthy? Did these 2 weeks off get him ready to go? If Jalen Hurts is healthy and you have running Jalen Hurts and throwing Jalen Hurts and ready to go, then I will take the Eagles. But I don't think he is.
I don't think he is either.
And so I'll take the 49ers, although the 49ers are living right. The 49ers, the Bengals are living right, except for their O-line. That's a problem. But the 49ers are really living good right now.
Yeah, they're killing it.
I'm sorry. And I will admit that this has no logic behind it. I can't live in a universe where Brock Purdy's allowed to take a team to a Super Bowl. I can't live in that universe.
But they will be tested by two teams who have good defenses coming up. The Cowboys have a good defense. Brock Purdy,
no,
not really.
I think the Cowboys have enough pass rush to maybe get to Brock Purdy.
I hope so.
That's the only thing. Because Brock Purdy and the 49ers have not faced a good pass rush in 6 weeks.
No.
So that's my only thing there. My only thing there. Is how good can they eliminate Micah Parsons? Can they eliminate the pass rush for the for the Cowboys?
Give me Niners by 10.
Niners by 10?
Niners by 10.
And it's not because of what I saw last night, because that is more of the
Buccaneers. Yeah, I agree with that.
Than Dak being that good.
I agree with that.
But I do think the Cowboys defense, they've got some dudes back there. And I think they can maybe make it difficult on Brock Purdy. But I'll take 49ers versus the Chiefs in the Super Bowl.
Real fast. Who is Trey Lance playing quarterback for next year?
San Francisco.
Yeah, I think so too.
Okay.
I hope the Niners
I think they have to keep him. They gave up too much to move him.
Well, and no one's gonna. Okay, you're not gonna get a first right now for Trey Lance.
Nope.
So you gave up 2 firsts, and you're not even gonna get one.
Here's a question for you. One last one. You need a quarterback. You can trade for one.
Patrick Mahomes.
Who would you rather have? No, that's not an option. The Chiefs aren't going to trade him. Who would you rather have for your starting quarterback next year if you are like the Colts? Trey Lance or Jordan Love? I think it's a very easy answer.
If Trey Lance is healthy, I'd go with him, but I don't know if he ever will be.
I think it's Jordan Love very easy.
I take Jordan Love because at least he's consistently gotten to play football at times.
Yep.
Because he's not healthy. Availability.
Best ability
is an ability. Brandon, we appreciate the time. You got the Hawks winning?
Yep, I got KU winning. We'll talk all about it. Michael Swain's going to join us today. We'll preview the game. We're off early today. We're only 3 to 5 for 580 Sports Talk. We're off early for the K-State Radio Network.
Coming up next, we will hear from Patrick Mahomes. Hour of Mic'd Up on this Tuesday. Thank you so much for joining us. Jake and Fulton along with Fulton Caster with you after the super wild card weekend that was. We'll get to more Chiefs Jags coming up tomorrow here from the coordinators. The game kicking off at 3:30 on Saturday. 2 o'clock pregame coverage. That'll be on the big 94.5 country. Remember, the big 94.5 country if you want to listen to Mitchell G. And this will be the last game that we can air of the Chiefs Radio Network. If they beat the Jags, they will make the title game. We cannot air the title game for the Chiefs Radio Network. That's not our choice.
That is not our call. We cannot stress that enough.
So
we would love to do it differently. We ain't got a choice.
But we will air the Westwood 1 feed of Chiefs versus either Bengals or Bills. So we will have the game. It just won't be with the Chiefs Radio Network. Yes. So that'll be on the big 94.5 country. Hit us up on our Big O Tires text line, 785-272-9429. From the Big O Tires text line, Jake, you said the Chiefs game would be Sunday.
You did, Jake. You were very confident that the Chiefs be put on the Sunday slate.
Yes. I did not think the Giants would win.
Well, that's your first mistake.
I also I thought that they would put Bengals Bills in prime time Saturday night.
Yeah, that is honestly the most peculiar choice that they've made, is that Bills Bengals is not prime time.
That
is a very peculiar choice.
If I'm, and maybe it's because they want bigger markets like Giants, Eagles. I mean, I don't know who gets what. We just know that there's one AFC and one NFC game that is being played each game or each day. And we knew that the Cowboys were going to play on Sunday. So if the Giants don't win, if the Vikings win, then it's Cowboys, Eagles. But the Cowboys get the primetime game on Sunday, but maybe CBS said, I don't know who gets first choice. Maybe CBS said, no, we want Bengals Bills. And their time slot was 2 o'clock Central Time on Sunday. The worst matchup is Chiefs Jags.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not an argument. Giants and Eagles to me will be more competitive than Chiefs Jags. So I thought that the Chiefs would play on Sunday, but it is what it is. Chiefs play on Saturday. Got a game tonight. KU K-State. We'll get to that coming up here in just a little bit. Got some odds makers as well. But KU K-State, KU a 1.5 point favorite over the Cats tonight from Bramlage. We're going to hear from Jerome Tang. What a great 90 seconds from Jerome Tang. I like him more and more. We'll get to that coming up at the bottom of the hour. But Patrick Mahomes met with the media today. What did QB1 have to say? He spoke for a little bit. Here's what Mahomes had to say to the media before the divisional round against the Jags.
He has a good sense of the quarterback timing, when to be in there for protection reasons and when to get out. And then whenever he's hot, he always has his eyes around and he's ready to catch the ball. And then he makes special plays when he gets the catch. He seems like he can get in the end zone almost every single time. So he's a vet and a guy that knows what to do whenever he catches the football.
The Jaguars really laid the wood to you guys. What the one illegal hit on Juju, but then they made some other big hits. Are they a physical defense that does that typically, or was that out of character, or is that the way they play it?
Yeah, I mean, they're a fast, physical team. They fly around, they fly to the football. I got to do better at not leading guys into hits like that. So I'll try to protect my receivers the best I can, but we're going to still be aggressive. We're going to throw the ball down the field when we get the opportunities to. But it's all going to start with up front, our guys blocking their defensive line, which has a lot of great players there. So I'm just going to do whatever I can to have success every play that I get the opportunity to.
What stands out differently about this team from when you last faced them? 27-17 win, but things have changed because they're starting to win. They got a little momentum. What are you seeing differently out of them?
Yeah, I mean, I think the only difference is they might just have a little bit more confidence just because they're winning football games right now. But they're a talented team. I knew that the first time we played them. You can see the talent that they had. They were flying around to the football. They made a few mistakes here and there, and that's why we kind of got the win the first time. But we understand how good this football team is and how much of a challenge it's going to be for us to go out there and try to find a way to get a win. And so we're trying to prepare ourselves the best way possible that we can find a way to win it there on Saturday.
How impressed were you with Lawrence having the 4 interceptions, but being able to bounce back and have the kind of second half that he did as a young quarterback?
Yeah, no, it's tough, man. When you throw 3 interceptions, especially in the first half, or four interceptions, especially if it's in the first half, if it's your fault or not, that kind of can seep into your mind of how, man, like what decisions am I going to make going forward? Do I protect it or do I stay aggressive? But he battled through, man. That's a true test of a competitor, man. That whenever stuff's not going your way, to still pull your team to find a way to win. And he's done it at every level, high school, college, and now in the NFL, he's taken that team and they've turned it around fast. So he's a great competitor, man, and we understand it'll be a great challenge. And they have a great football team that's been playing playoff football for over a month now. So they understand what it takes to win, and we have to go out there and do whatever we can to do what we can to win.
This will be Trevor's second playoff game. Obviously, as you think back to 18 when you had the Colts and the Patriots, what are the challenges for a quarterback when they're entering their first playoff run?
Yeah, probably just controlling emotions. I mean, you win a big game, your first playoff game. You can't be satisfied. I think that's the biggest thing. And so, yeah, I mean, other than that, it's just football. You have to just come back and play the next week and find a way to win that next one.
Patrick, given where you are in your career and obviously the experience you do have in the postseason, how much do you sort of carve out time to sort of plan or anticipate things that might be unscouted because it's a rematch, because you're going to see obviously maybe new things in the postseason? How much time do you sort of carve out for something where it may not be on film, but you're still trying to anticipate if it might be presented to you?
I think I've done a better job of that this year, just in general, just because I've played so many teams multiple times now. You have to know where the defense coordinators came from. Caldwell came from Tampa Bay, where in the first game they played us one way, and the second game they played us a different way. And they've kind of always had different game plans. And he's a great defense coordinator who does a lot of different stuff. So you have to prepare for what they did against us the first time, but also with that in the back of your mind that they might change it all the way up, and you have to have answers for that as well. And so I think that's what we have to do as a great offense is have answers for everything. And I'm sure they'll have a good game plan coming in, and we have to execute at a high level to have success.
Patrick, you might be getting Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Jody Fortune back. 21-day window is officially open. As you make this stretch run, what kind of wrinkle does that provide the offense when you could have these 2 players available if you go to the Super Bowl?
Yeah, anytime you get talented players back, man, it helps the whole team, not just the offense, but everybody. To have that energy in the locker room again, to have it on the football field, and both those guys are special type players where they can do different things than the guys that we already have in there. So just having as many people back healthy as possible is going to be great for us because we'll have different options to utilize as we continue to try to build and get better and better and win these playoff games.
Patrick, what do you feel like you missed without having McCall in the lineup?
Yeah, I mean, he's got a special type of speed, a special type of speed that he does a great job with if it's jet sweeps or stretching the field vertically, and he's gotten better and better at making those tough catches. So it's we've done a great job of replacing that with other guys, but I mean, having McCall is a special type of player, and he's done a lot of great things for this offense.
Patrick, you talked about controlling emotions for Trevor. It's been about a year since you've been able to play a playoff game at home. Will you have to control your emotions before this one? What do you think?
Yeah, I always do when I play at Arrowhead. I always come out of that tunnel. I'm a little hyped up. So doing a good job of controlling my emotions, focusing on what I need to focus on to have success. It's gonna be a big game in a great environment, obviously in Arrowhead, and we're gonna have to play our best football. So I got to be that leader that controls my emotions and goes out there and can be calm, but I still have the energy to lead the team.
Andy had mentioned that you guys had a lot of new cast of characters coming into the season. How do you entering the postseason where it matters most? What are the conversations like with this new cast of characters that you have? You know that the standard here is to win the Super Bowl with these guys.
Yeah, I think all the guys understood that whenever they signed with this team is that we want to win the Super Bowl, and if we don't, we feel like it's not where we should be at. And so I think we've built all year. We try to get better and better with the mindset of we want to win the Super Bowl, but we can't do it every single day. We have to continue to just get better and better until we get to that point. And you can't look ahead, man. I mean, we have a great team that we're playing this week that's playing great football. And so how can we get better at practice today? So that we're better by the end of the week. And I think you have to have that mindset, and I think the guys do, and I think we're in a good spot.
Patrick, from a team aspect, what's that mindset transition like from regular season to playoff mode?
I think you just have to have a different intensity. I mean, the speed picks up. Every play matters. You in the regular season, you feel like that, but you might try a little bit more because you know that you can make that mistake and maybe come back from it. But in the playoffs, every single play matters, mistake or positive, and how can you execute at a high level? And if it doesn't happen your way, you have to bounce back quickly. And that's really the only huge difference. And I think our guys have a good understanding of that.
Does your body feel any different having the bye week?
Yeah, I mean, you definitely feel, I guess, a little bit more rested. I think it's about how did you manage that bye week? How did you work out? Like, what did you do to keep your body ready? Because like I said, they've been playing playoff football for a month now, and they've had a big comeback and have a lot of momentum on their side. So how can we match their intensity the moment we step on that field?
Have you been watching the playoff games, how close they are?
Yeah, I mean, that's the biggest thing with the bye week. I think especially in today's NFL is you get a win because you don't get to play in that bye week. And if you look, I mean, from everyone that was in the playoffs, it seemed like it went down to the wire. Even the San Fran game, I mean, at halftime, Seattle was up. So you get to rest your body, obviously, but you get a win in a sense. And now you have to see what you can do to get that intensity back up and be ready to go against teams that have played in a hard-fought game already.
Lawrence celebrated his first playoff win at Waffle House, which is pretty hardcore.
Yeah.
How did you celebrate your first playoff win?
I can't remember exactly. I'm sure I was saying to Brad, I'm sure there was a couple Coors Lights that we're drinking. But yeah, I didn't get Waffle House, man. That's a baller move, man. And so maybe if we win this one, I'll think of somewhere to go that can match that.
Where does Patrick Mahomes go then that would be the equivalent of a Waffle House? Now, they have Waffle House in Kansas City, but you can't go to a Waffle House if they win because that's Trevor Lawrence's move. By the way, the Waffle House it's underrated. Yeah, it's underrated. The food is not as bad as you think.
No, it's delicious.
You know what I mean? Like, you really, how do you screw up sausage links? Give me what kind of eggs you want. Okay, do you want them over easy, sunny side up, scrambled? I mean, it ain't that difficult to cook an egg. Let's be real.
Yeah.
Okay. Waffles. Ain't that hard to cook a waffle. Like,
yeah.
So you know what you're getting at a very cheap price. And at nighttime,
it's an adventure.
It's almost like going to a movie. You know? Where would he go? Where do you go?
I don't know. Go to one of the Whataburgers he owns.
They have 24-hour Whataburgers in Kansas City?
I don't know.
Whataburger wouldn't be that'd be a good brand too, because he owns them.
Yeah, exactly.
Does he have to pay for his own burgers at Whataburger, or does he get them for free?
I don't know.
Since he owns
I don't know
them?
how that works. That's a level of living life that I don't know.
That's the level of life that man, truer words have never been spoken, Fulton.
I don't know what it means that you pay for your own food at a place you own. I don't know how that works. I don't own restaurants or fast food eateries.
And because he's not like, a hands-on owner,
No, he's just like an investor in these things.
Yeah, like the lead investor.
Yeah.
So if he comes walking through there, does he have like a card? Like a Whataburger owner card that you have to, does it keep track of how much he eats? That type, like a credit card. I got so many questions running through my head right now, Fulton.
Here's what I need you to do. You're going to text Matt. You're going to say, hey, next time Pat's at the podium, can you ask him how that works?
Yeah.
No, and then Matt's going to tell you, no, I'm not going to ask that.
These are the questions that people want to know. If he goes to Whataburger, does he have to pay? Is he paying? I mean, he probably does.
Yeah, probably.
Because he doesn't want to be that guy. Because if you go in there and they see, but maybe the people at Whataburger obviously know who Patrick Mahomes is. They know he's the owner. Therefore, they're like, it's on the house, boss. Like, this is the stuff that I think about.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
But now you're interested in it as well.
I'm intrigued.
Yeah. Where would he go?
I don't know.
I mean, you can't go to a barbecue joint because it's closed.
Yeah.
Well, granted, the game's at 3. I mean, he could go there at like 8.
Yeah. I respect Trevor so much for it in the Waffle House.
Heck yeah. That's a man of the people.
Fun fact, I'd never gone to a Waffle House for a long time. And then I had 2 friends come up this way because we were going to go to a Boulevard in Kansas City because we've gone there a couple times. We enjoy going there and trying their stuff that they haven't released public yet. And I made a comment. They're like, I'd never gone to a Waffle House. And we're just like, screw it. We left early enough. We hit the Waffle House on the way over. It was an experience, and I want to go back several times over. It was everything that was advertised to me and more. There were creative characters I saw in a few spots. The food felt like it took some years off of my life, but in the best way possible. Because you don't go to the Waffle House for really good high-end food. You go to the Waffle House for food that's at a very good, cheap price, and it'll kind of put a hole in you, but it's good the entire time it's doing it.
And if you've had a few Coors Lights, like he said,
I
even
can
better.
guarantee you, if you go to the Waffle House sober, you're having a pretty good time. You go to the Waffle House under the influence of something, because I'll expand the range when it comes to the Waffle House. You're having a great time. I can't lie. If there's ever a night where I'm somewhere in a Waffle House that's close enough nearby and I'm with some friends and I've had some adult beverages, I would say let's go to the Waffle House. Someone be sober enough to get us there safely and get us there back.
You can't say IHOP or Denny's because that's too commercial.
Yeah. Gotta go to the Waffle House.
But he can't because that's copying Trevor Lawrence.
No, that's true.
This is the stuff that keeps me up sometimes at night. That and my kids.
These are the big questions.
Yeah.
Others contemplate the meaning of life. What is the purpose of the universe's existence? Jake's is, where would Patrick Mahomes go after a victory?
See, I wonder. I'm trying to think of where you'd go here in Topeka. Banjo's isn't open late, so you can't go there. That's where I'd probably go. Banjo's is awesome. It's only open during the mornings. Great lunch or great breakfast. Banjo's fantastic. What's the restaurant, the breakfast joint at Billard?
I don't know.
What's it called?
I haven't lived here long enough to learn this information.
Tammy's Billard Airport Restaurant. Fantastic. That doesn't stay open late either. So that's right. You're limited. Hit us up on the Big O Tires text line. What would be the Larry shortstop? Yes. That's another good one here in Topeka. Yes. Fantastic. Larry's terrific. By the way, you're welcome for the free advertising. Larry's.
You're all welcome for this.
You're welcome. Those 3. Larry shortstop. Yes, from the 785. Yep, 100%. Coming up next, we got a little odds makers, and then we'll talk Sunflower Showdown edition number. What is it? Got to be like 200 and some, 220, 230.
I think it's only won something. I don't think we're at 200 yet.
No, it's 200.
I don't think we're at 200 yet.
Yes.
Has
to be.
Oh, it is played twice a year.
Yes.
It does change that math.
Yeah, they're definitely the 200s because Washburn and Poirier in the 200s.
Then sure.
Yes, KU's got 200 wins in itself. We're in the 300s.
Good Lord.
No, not quite actually. No, beg your pardon. This will be edition number 298.
Oh, we're almost to 300.
203 wins for KU, 94 for the Cats.
That means we'll hit 300 either in the Big 12 tournament this year.
No, we won't. Yes,
this
we
is
could.
298.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Then the second one this year is 299.
Yep. So we'll get to 299.
And then we'll either, if they match up in the Big 12 tournament, we'll get 300 there. If not, the first time they link up next year, it'll be 300.
Yep.
At either Allen or Bramlage. We don't know yet.
What is the longest winning streak for K-State against KU?
7.
5.
Ooh.
72 to 74.
Good for them.
And then 82 to 83. Longest winning streak for KU?
12.
Come on.
I just wanted to say it.
31.
Good Lord.
I knew it was in the 30s. I thought it was honestly more than 31.
I
to be
was
honest with you.
Trying to be polite.
No, you weren't. Largest KU win, 45. Largest K-State win, 27.
Probably make a close one tonight.
I think so. I think it's going to be close. We're going to get to that after little odds makers. That's coming up here on Mic'd Up. Time for a little odds makers. All right, Fulton. What are the odds that KU wins the Big 12?
49%.
You're still not at 50-50.
Nope, not yet.
They do lead the Big 12 outright now, a third of the way through the Big 12 season.
I know.
You do know that, right?
I know.
Do you?
Yes.
I'm not for sure you do.
I do. A lot of ball left. Tough conference. Think about it. They lose tonight. They're right back to being tied with K-State at the top. And Iowa State. Simple as that. That's how quick it can turn.
Technically, if they lose tonight, they would be tied atop the Big 12 with just K-State.
Fair.
Actually, no, I take that back. Iowa State and Texas play today. Wow. The top 4 teams.
Really?
The top 5. Yeah, I didn't think any other games were. I thought they were playing tomorrow.
Oh, I thought they were too.
Baylor and Texas Tech also play today.
That doesn't matter.
But that one's not as important.
They don't matter.
So the top 4 teams in the conference.
See, it could all get reshuffled around with the way 2 games get played today. That's why I still say it's only 49. The margin for error is that slim in a very tough conference.
Because you've got Iowa State, Texas, who are both 4-1, play each other, and then K-State and K-State and KU will play. KU is 5-0. K-State's 4-1. So you could have a 6-0 team and a 5-1 team, or you could have 3 5-1 teams and a 4-2 team.
You could. That's why I say 49.
I'm still at 50.
That's fair.
I'm actually leaning more towards 51%.
Wow.
Now. Yeah.
The conference is just too tough for me to have that level of confidence yet.
That means you're saying you'd. I mean, I'm not quite there yet of the Jayhawks, and it's not the Jayhawks or the field. I mean, I'd still take the field because 51% or 50% is still, to me, not the field.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like the Jayhawks' chances right now. I do.
They're pretty good. But a little more time near the top, near the end, and we'll start to
Texas Tech
create that up.
Texas Tech and West Virginia are both 0-5 in the conference.
Yeah.
See, this is where like the whole are they going to get 10 or 9? No, they're not going to get 10. They're not going to get 9. The question is, will they get 8? If you get 8 in, then I think that's going to be the record for percentage of teams in the tournament. Does that beat the Big East? What did Mike DeCourcy tell us last week? Don't remember. The Big East, though, I think they got 70% of the teams in. But Texas Tech, they honestly, Texas Tech probably needs to get a win here over Baylor to maybe make this thing. You start 0-6, that's a third of the season, and you haven't gotten a Big 12 win. That doesn't bode well.
It doesn't. With the new Ken Pom rankings updated, who do you think is the lowest rated Ken Pom team in the Big 12?
I'd probably say Texas Tech.
You'd be correct.
Yeah.
What do you think they are?
38th.
59th.
Oh. A little bit too high on the Red Raiders.
A little bit. 39th, Oklahoma State. 38th is Penn State. Not even a Big 12 team. Sad. Jake, what are the odds the AFC Championship games played on a neutral site?
God, the Bengals O-line issues are a problem.
They're not good.
That is a problem. But, man, Joe Burrow finds a way. I know that the Bengals right now, I think, are a 4.5-point dog.
I thought it was 5. I could be wrong.
Let's see what our good friends at FanDuel,
America's #1 sportsbook,
has to say. What do we got here? Oh, I don't want that. 4.5. The Bengals are plus 190 money line. I'll say I think the Bengals are going to win, but if you want to give me the percentage, I'll say I'm surprised it's that high, to be honest with you. That makes me wonder what Vegas knows that I don't to side on the Bengals side, which makes me actually want to go with the Bills because I think the Bengals as 4.5-point dog seems very low or very high for the Bengals. I really do. I thought this would be like a 2-point game. But they obviously feel like the Bengals are not as talented, but that O-line is a big concern to me. I'll probably say 60-40. It's a neutral site, so 60%. I mean, Vegas knows for a reason. So I'll say 60%. It's in Atlanta.
I think about 55. I think Vegas knows something we don't when it comes to Cincinnati, because that does feel a little high. But I mean, who knows? Maybe Vegas feels like the O-line is definitely not going to be fixed by the time Sunday rolls around, which if so, I know the Bills are missing, Von Miller, but they can still do some work. And just even moreover, it's just the Bengals reserve O-linemen are just bad. Like bad.
That's a concern to me.
It's not good.
But if they're healthy, then I really like the Bengals.
Yeah,
like
I agree.
They come back.
If they're healthy, I go 50-50. I go just straight down the middle, coin flip it.
I don't know if they are. I haven't seen injury reports on anything because they play on Sundays, so they're not going to meet today anyway. So that'll be more so tomorrow when it comes to that. Coming up next, Sunflower Showdown, but we're going to hear from Jerome Tang. It's really, really good stuff, what he has to say about the game tonight, atmosphere, what he wants his fan base to be. I think it's good stuff. We'll get to that coming up next. K-State, KU. Hawks 1.5-point favorite. K-State coming off a they got smacked. There's no other way to put that. Marquise Noel did not have a great game against TCU. Cats really didn't have much on offense. TCU big boyed him. Eddie Lampkin, we told you he was going to have a good game. He bullied his way to 15 points. They just played really, really well. TCU did. K-State had no answer. KU, I was actually encouraged by that game because we know Iowa State defensively is excellent. They are excellent. And it was a game played at Iowa State's pace, at Iowa State's want, in this low 60s. But KU defensively matched him. That was great to see. It really, really was. KU gets 0 bench production. I mean, zip. They got 2 points. 58 points came from the starters. Clements, Yesufu, Zuby, Pettiford, they bring nothing to the table right now. And they didn't against Iowa State. But KU's got a pretty good damn 5, especially if KJ Adams is your player of the week in the Big 12. What were the odds of that? There was off the board.
Low.
There was off the board. You couldn't even bet KJ Adams would win Big 12 player of the week. That's incredible. So both of them coming off different games. KU coming off a little bit of a high. Didn't think KJ Adams would also be the guy that you're going to at the end of the game for the last shot. But defensively, KU was excellent. And we know this from K-State. K-State right now is having a hard time defending. TCU got a lot what they wanted, but KU and TCU are nothing like. TCU had big dudes. KU does not. KJ Adams is not a big dude. KU doesn't have an Eddie Lampkin, or they don't got guys like from Tennessee. They don't. It's a very similar matchup. Naquan Tomlin going up against KJ Adams, or, Igiola going up against KJ Adams. Very similar. Keontae Johnson, more than likely, is probably going to be guarding Jalen Wilson. Marquise Noel going up against Harris. Almost had a brain cramp there. Like, it's very, very similar to me. Grady Dick's the X factor in this game. That's what I'm going to wonder.
If Grady starts letting it fly, good luck.
So for K-State, who guards Grady Dick? Because I don't think it's Keontae Johnson. I don't, because I think he's guarding Jalen Wilson. That to me is how I would look at that. I mean, is Carter on? Are we going? Because Tomlin's going to guard KJ Adams.
Yeah.
Or is EG? Okay, maybe it's this. And if this is the case, not great for K-State. Let's say it is Igiola guarding KJ Adams. Then do you put Tomlin on Jalen Wilson? Yikes. I don't like that matchup, but then Keontae Johnson guards Grady Dick. I like Keontae Johnson guarding Jalen better, and you say, Naquan, hopefully your length is good enough to guard Grady Dick, and then Carter guards McCullough.
Yeah.
That would be my guess.
It's not an easy puzzle to solve.
Because you got one guy, either Dick or Wilson, has, to me, a better matchup. And that's where do you go if you're K-State? Here's how you do it. You get Harrison foul trouble, you bring in Pettiford, you bring in Yesufu, bring in Clements. K-State needs to somehow get KU in foul trouble. If they get KU in foul trouble, then I think K-State is in a good spot. I think the foul trouble is a huge plus for Kansas State.
And that's not the hardest thing to do. Juwan Harris has a propensity to pick up early fouls. If you can do that, I've said it time and again, Juwan Harris, the thing he brings more than anything is an ability to just keep KU in a rhythm and just keeps the machine running. if he gets to be taken out, we saw it happen against Tennessee. They didn't have Juwan Harris most of that game because he was picking up a bunch of fouls. KU lost all semblance of how to play the game. Because when things get rough, he has just a way of settling them down and settling them in. So that I think that's what K-State needs to, which partly means K-State needs to be aggressive, means they need to attack and look for contact, seek it out. Don't seek it out recklessly. Don't shoot recklessly doing so. But, don't settle for mid-range jumpers. Don't settle for long threes. Try and attack the basket, because I think you are helped if you can get them in some foul trouble, either being Juwan Harris or KJ Adams even. Because KJ is KU's only big man that can score. Like, KJ can score. Zuby can give some decent minutes off the bench. And he can try his best.
Well,
he can't score.
Until he does it consistently, he's not an answer.
No, he's not. That's the exact
Yeah.
point. It's like if you are K-State, you get KJ off the floor, that at least opens up another avenue of some options as well. I don't know what
K-State, I think, can get you in foul trouble. I think K-State, because the Marquise Noel can get to the hoop. Same thing with Keontae Johnson.
Yeah,
I
that's
think
the biggest thing is Marquise Noel and Keontae Johnson. They can attack and get to the rim, and that's where you get areas to try and draw fouls.
K-State to win without KU having to alter their plan, where they play their starters 80% of the minutes, and then you just fill in, for a spot here and there, and hopefully your guys can help out.
Yeah.
But if KU doesn't alter their plan, then Keontae Johnson and Marquise Noel have to combine for at least 45. Those two have to play excellent, or you got to have somebody play above their skis. You got to have Tomlin go for 15. You need to have Carter go for 15, or Igiola go for 10. And then you got, 18 and 18 from, you get less than 40. But you either have to have those two guys go off, or you got to have somebody
come out of nowhere to help.
Someone has to go full on KJ Adams against Oklahoma and score 22.
Yeah.
That's what happens for KU.
And I'll say this as well. There's kind of been a blueprint to not necessarily beating KU, but to putting yourselves in a position against them. And it's you need to take KU out of rhythm. You need to make Kansas uncomfortable.
Hey, Oklahoma and Iowa State did that both.
Oklahoma did it. Iowa State did it. Oklahoma State did it. Those three teams, the closest to have beaten KU in conference play, all did one thing in common. They made KU uncomfortable. They threw them out of rhythm, threw them off kilter, and started forcing KU to taking shots that they don't normally take because they were all out of sorts. That is step one for K-State's defense tonight if they want to win this game. Because if you let KU play their style of ball, if you just let them stay in their flow offensively, even if they're not making shots early, but if the shots that they're taking, that even if they're missing them, if the shots KU is taking is what they want to be doing, if everything KU is doing, make or miss, is coming within the designed flow of what Bill Self wants his team to do, K-State, you'll probably lose. And that's not even me trying to be mean. Like, that's just, we've seen it this year. When KU gets to just play their game, when the chips come down, they win. But if K-State can disrupt it, whether that be through causing some foul trouble or just defending really hard and defending in such a way that you make the rest of the team uncomfortable, that is, I think, their number one key to trying to win this game for K-State. You got to make them uncomfortable.
Jerome Tang spoke to the media. And, man, the more and more, you got to love Jerome Tang. We like the hire, at least I like the hire to begin with. And this is what Jerome Tang had to say about the game tonight when it comes to the atmosphere, the fans, and his fan base.
My message to our students, okay, because that I don't want them to show up to the game and yell and scream, and I don't want our fans to show up to the game because they hate the other team, right? I want them to show up because they love Kansas State, right? Our guys, every guy on our roster, they didn't pick this school because they hated somebody else. They picked this school because they love us as a staff, they love this community, and they love this university. And I would be real interested to see how we can really change this thing around if we're motivated by love, right, rather than by hate. And I just feel, and I know I'm upset some people, I feel like we, the Kansas State community and family, allow them to live rent-free in our heads way too much. Okay, this game, it's one game in the conference. If we win, we get one win. If we lose, we get one loss. That's it. I came to try and win a Big 12 championship and win a national championship. Okay, and the year we won the national championship, we split with these guys, right? And so that's my thing. Let's show up to the game because we love Kansas State. Let's show up to every game because we love Kansas State. Let's pack Bramlage and make it the Octagon of Doom because we love Kansas State, not because we hate somebody else.
And that's true. That is what you should do. You should cheer it because of your team. Whereas in the past, it's been more of, let's do it because it's KU. We want to beat KU instead of win for K-State.
Yeah.
1,000%. And I think that is the change that Jerome Tang is trying to make. And so far, he's done a nice job of that. I also think that it's okay to strongly dislike KU if you're at K-State. It's okay that this game should mean a little bit more. As a coach, Jerome Tang is correct. It's 1 of 18. It is. It's 1 of 18. As a fan, this one does mean more. This one does. So he, I think, knows that as well. I think he understands that, being the head coach, and I think he knows what his fan base wants to beat KU. I think he does. But right now, he is trying to make it more about K-State than we want to win instead of we want KU to lose, which is terrific. That is what you want. That is how you build a program. It's about your team, not the opposing team. And Jerome Tang has hit the nail on the head. This will be a tough spot for K-State. You just got drubbed by TCU. How do you respond? Now you're taking on your biggest rival, the team that has owned the Big 12. You bounce back. You play excellent. What if you lose this one? Now you've lost 2 in a row. What are you feeling if you are Kansas State? If you lose tonight, Kansas State then takes on Texas Tech. You know, that's a good bounce back game, to be honest with you. They haven't won a league game yet. But I really like what Jerome Tang has said there. Plus, I think this is in light of, hey, let's try to avoid Big League Chew. All right? Don't chant Big League Chew.
Don't do that.
And I wonder how that'll work. Does KU fans, if he has done enough where it doesn't even happen in the game, Jerome Tang's already done his job. Because he doesn't want that. Because he wants it to be more about let's go Cats than Big League Chew.
Yeah.
Very simple. Coming up next, we're going to wrap things up with the mic drop. From the Big O Tires text line, we hate KU. I don't think Tang knows that yet. It's a bigger game than coaches making it out to be. No, he knows. He knows. Trust me, he knows. He's trying to make it more about K-State than KU. He knows how big this is for K-State fans. There's a difference between what a fan wants and what is important as a coach. You got to balance that. Jerome Tang knows that this one game is not going to be the difference for this K-State season. He knows that. It's one of 18. And he made a great example. He split it between the two. But you also have to kind of lean into the fans a little bit. But I think this is more of a push towards K-State. I'll give you like 5 seconds for the mic drop. What do you got?
Hawks.
I think the Hawks win as well. It's a close one though. Coming up next, we got a little 580 Sports Talk.